All right, so if you're an old school FPV head, you'll know that it was a very disappointing day when they discontinued the session. And then every Hero black camera that came out afterwards just kept getting bigger and heavier. And then eventually, people started deconstructing and decasing the GoPro to make what's called the Naked Gopro. Basically trying to make it smaller, lighter, more friendly for us FPV guys. And then they got rid of Pro Tunes out of that quick app. So for a while, it just kind of felt like they were just trying to give us, you know, until this happened. Now, before I dive into this new GoPro camera offering, I do have to give you guys just a little bit of a history lesson so that we can kind of understand how we got here. And it all started by one person by the name of Robert McIntosh, which to some of you might be known as the person who invented Real Steady and Real Steady Go. But to myself and perhaps a lot of others, he was really the godfather of taking apart a camera for the sole purpose of being able to put it onto a much smaller drone package and getting some insane shots. Some of you might remember that epic viral Venice Beach drone shot. He was the guy, and since then, an entire community has formed dedicated to taking apart cameras, again, for the sole purpose of being able to put it onto a much smaller drone package. All right, now for the disclaimer. If you're a GoPro action cam user and you use it for the more standard use case applications, I hate to say it, but this new camera offering from GoPro is probably not for you. This is very much tailored for the FPV drone community. And there goes my watch time analytics. All right, if you're still around, chances are you fly FPV drones, and if you don't and you want to check FPV drones out, I highly suggest you do because it is an amazing hobby. Being able to capture content using FPV drones has proven to be very dynamic, very cool, and something that most people have not seen. All right, now with all of that out of the way, let me introduce to you guys the prototype. Now, a couple of weeks back, GoPro reached out to me and sent me this camera. I'll tell you more about my experiences as we go, but for now, I just got the production packaging, which looked pretty cool. So let's go do a quick unboxing experience. This is how this works. You've got your standard lens that comes off right here up top. On the side right here is where you enter your micro SD card. On the back here, this is where you plug this cable. And on your drone, you've got power, ground, and this yellow one is for remote startup. And just so you know, this does take up to 6S input. That's about 24, 25 volts. And if you are going to use the tab on the back, you just insert that there and you use the screws. All right, here's what I absolutely love about this. Let's start off with the most obvious. First and foremost, I don't have to take it apart. And if you've ever done the DIY route of taking apart a GoPro to get it to look like one of these, you'll know that it's kind of a daunting task, and I have personally ruined a couple of GoPros just through the learning process. But if you are successful, there's a couple of drawbacks. One, you're gonna lose the microphone. Two, the ability to connect to something, say the remote or say your phone, has become somewhat of a tricky thing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. However, with this, everything works. You got the microphone, so if you like using voice command, that works. It connects seamlessly with the remote, that works. If you like to use the GoPro app, that also works. It just works. And that's the best part. And especially if you're like me and I use this on set and in professional settings, the ability to connect to the GoPro app without any fuss is a huge deal. Now I know what you're wondering. You're probably saying, well, Tommy, they took away Pro Tunes from the app, but guess what? They fixed that too. That's right, GoPro is listening and I freaking love it. If you download the latest version of the GoPro Quick app, you'll notice that the access to Pro Tune settings is back. So this is kind of the dream right here. This is looking pretty good, fellas. Like this can do basically everything this can. I mean, like, oh, here's another thing. This lens right here comes off just like a normal GoPro lens, which means that if you've got an ND filter set, that will work. If you like to use the max lens mod, that will work. So with all that said, there's gotta be some drawbacks, right? It is a more durable case, but with that more durable case comes more weight. This is probably about twice as heavy as the DIY counterpart. I believe it's about 66, 67 grams. However, for me personally, I would much rather take on that extra weight in exchange for a much more robust and durable casing. Now that's the one thing that I will say, I have not crashed it, but only time will tell how this will hold up to some more severe crashing, maybe some bando bashing. I don't know guys, but I will let you know and update you as I put this into more use. The only reason why I didn't want to do some crash testing was obviously up until now I've only had this prototype and I didn't want to break it because, you know, obviously I needed to be able to provide feedback, especially as they provided some firmware updates. The only other two things that I'm going to nitpick that I personally don't like is coming back to this cable. This is not a silicone sleeved cable, which means you're going to have to be very quick with your soldering because that's going to basically melt off really fast. And then the other thing is just kind of the general placement of where they put the tabs. Now it does come with this so that if you wanted to use your GoPro tab accessories, you attach this guy onto there and put the screw in and then you're golden. However, I suspect that most of you back home are probably going to 3D print something like this, slide this in here, and then you're good to go. So the last thing I will comment on, because I know some of you are probably wondering, is how does it work with Real Steady? And the answer to that is it works. It's no different from the full-size Hero 10. So all of the gyro data still gets captured. I've tried it with Real Steady Go and even the latest version of Real Steady Go 2, which by the way, by the time you're watching this, I believe that has dropped. It is now integrated into GoPro Player, so go check that out. All right, folks, that's going to do it. If you guys want to check out an FPV drone, go visit the website www.omagod.com. We've got this. This is the 250 frame. In my opinion, perfect for something like the GoPro Bones. But if not, and you're flying a regular 5-inch GoPro, again, it just being about 65, 66 grams, that just means you're that much lighter in the air, you'll get that much more flight time, and if you do go down, it's less kinetic energy, which means better chances of things surviving. All right, fellas, now that's gonna check it out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Drawbacks that the DIY route causes? What am I trying to say?
Come on, I'm hungry.